Howdy folks, back. Okay, so I trimmed the hair a bit and, shaved the beard off. Figured it was about time to do that, but obviously that's not why I'm making this video. I wanted to discuss this photo and mainly the captions that come along with it. Alright, so I hope the words in this meme have set in. And it's blatantly obvious that the creator of this meme obviously is not a fan of the NRA and wants to destroy it. What does that say about somebody who wants to silence an opposing voice? And considering the fact the NRA is a lobby, how is a gun insurance going to destroy it? Unless, of course, they're talking about destroying firearms manufacturers who sell firearms and ammunition to civilians. And they pretty much want to destroy the NRA's funders. And by the way, I mean firearm owning civilians. Financially. I mean, with such a tactic like this, it's a wonder that gun control advocates can say with a straight face that you're not trying to eliminate civilian firearm ownership in the U.S. It's baffling that you can sit there and make statements like this and then turn around and say, well, nobody's trying to take your gun away. You guys are just being paranoid. And the fact of the matter is that this is double speak from gun control advocates again. And by the way, I've seen those words before in places other than that meme. Some of the words have changed, such as gun industry, as opposed to NRA. But the message and the idea is still the same. Their idea is that they make it financially impossible for civilians to own firearms, or most civilians to own firearms, and then, those civilians will just give up on arm ownership altogether and won't give money to the NRA, or some of them are that crazy to think that it's just the gun manufacturers giving money to the NRA. But who do you think it hurts directly by putting gun insurance on people? Does it directly harm the manufacturers, or does it actually harm the gun owners financially directly? It harms the gun owners. And that's the idea. But they can't come out and say directly that they want to harm the gun owners. So some of them have slipped up and said that. But then the gun control advocates will also, in the same breath, amazingly enough, like nobody can tell you're lying, that we're just being paranoid when we think, or when we claim that these guys literally are trying to eliminate civilian firearm ownership. It almost, my response to this is going to be this meme right here. Yes, that is exactly what I see whenever some gun control advocate assures me after making a statement like previously made that they're not trying to take anyone's guns away. We can go on and look at some more memes, actually. Yeah. They just didn't let any idiot own one. And that's their idea. They've come out and said directly that they just don't want anybody being able to own a firearm. Now, that any idiot, what they really mean is you, the average Joe citizen. They mean pretty much everybody that's not Mayor Bloomberg's bodyguards or stuff like that, you know. I mean, look at their response when somebody proposed letting active duty soldiers with concealed carry license carry on base. Their idea all of a sudden is that they were dumb grunts and couldn't handle that responsibility. You know, I mean, and even though none of them have any idea probably about how to go about getting concealed carry license, with a few small exceptions, these are the very same people that, sure, they're fine with themselves carrying, but they just don't want anyone else carrying. You know, they're fine with their bodyguards having all sorts of weapons. They just don't want you to have a weapon. And then we have stuff like this. Now, I know it's a kid that did that picture, but you got to think about this a second here. Somebody, some adult, most likely put that kid up to it, or put that idea into his head. Or I should say his or her head, because I'm not sure about the gender of the kid. But let's look at the photo again. I mean, let's analyze this here a second. 6-year-old kid, you know, obviously knows about carjackers, you know, points out that the carjacker has a gun, and that the people that were carjacked and shot did not. You know, but it's a bit interesting that he has a circle with a line through it on the NRA. What do you suppose that is? I mean, I know I'm just speculating here a little bit, but could it have been possible? In fact, more than possible, probable, that the kid has some either anti-gun parents or anti-freedom to own a gun teachers who he asked, he or she asked, or I don't know, maybe they had a discussion in the class or at home about, quote, bad guys with guns, you know. And the kid's like, well, why do we let bad guys get guns in, you know? And the parents were probably, or the teacher was probably like, well, the NRA stops any sensible gun legislation. That's what I can kind of imagine most likely happened. I mean, it wasn't brought up the possibility that, people use firearms to protect themselves. In fact, gun control advocates will routinely deny that you can use a firearm to protect yourself. In fact, they will oftentimes say, oh, well, you'll just cause more bloodshed and guns and apocalyptic gun battles. There's no way that you returning fire onto somebody who's pointing a gun and firing at you, there's no way that that's going to make the situation any better. Well, shoot. What's worse than a bad guy with a gun unchallenged, you know? I mean, hell. At least, you know, if good guys have guns, you know, yeah, it still may turn out bad, But what's worse than having an evil maniac go unchallenged? I mean, think about it. When no matter how, quote, anti-gun you are, you're being attacked or, somebody's trying to break into your home, who do you call? You call the police, right? Well, guess what? The police have guns. So, again, even they can't be so serious as to think that not having a gun is the best solution. I mean, then again, a lot of these gun control advocates, if you actually listen to what they say, and then you point out, hey, you're trying to take somebody's gun, then they're like, no, we're not. So I don't know, maybe they are. Maybe they do have that many screws in their head detached. I'm just saying it's a possibility. You know what? I want to comment on another one. Okay, so obviously the person doesn't know what an assault rifle is. By the way, the rifles that are being targeted by the assault weapons ban are not assault rifles. And second, real assault rifles and these, quote, assault weapons aren't very large rifles. Sorry to burst your bubble on that, but they're really not large. But, this is where gun control advocates have no idea what they're talking about, but they want to make their statements anyway. They want everyone to be forced to live under rules that are based off their own ignorance. And you ever notice how they like to talk about genitalia a lot? They have this unhealthy obsession with talking about people's genitalia. And I wonder sometimes if it's just because they're not getting enough on their own, or if they're just that obsessed, or what the deal is. But I've never really figured that out. I don't know, maybe some of the male gun control advocates are just projecting their own inadequacies onto us. Or maybe some of the female gun control advocates are, just projecting their own frustrations with their own boyfriend or husband, on us. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it could be quite a few different things. Wow. Talk about delusions of grandeur. Oh, my God. Yeah. Hey, I know you're trying to pretend like y'all are like Superman or Superwomen or whatever. But last I checked, Superman didn't come out of the telephone booth, to go to run up to the politician. You need to have more gun laws. As I recall, Superman took care of the bad guy himself. He didn't go demanding that we go arrest gun owners or put any more common sense gun laws out. Oh my God. I can go on. I can go responding to this stuff forever. Oh, shoot. But you know what? It's getting a little late here. I said I wasn't going to do a video responding to this stuff tonight, but I did anyway. Y'all take her easy now.